It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to the Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast on this, the 24th day of October, the day before sail away. So, as most of you know, I will be sailing away tomorrow, which also tomorrow is a travel day. So there will be no show tomorrow. No show tomorrow at all. I will be probably do something live from on board the MSC Meraviglia in Brooklyn, depending on when I get on board the ship and when I see about my schedule and solo meetups and all the things that I normally do to get started on a cruise. But anyway, I'll be heading out to Richmond Airport in the middle of the night. Get in there about 5 o'clock in the morning. My flight's at 7 to Brooklyn. And then I'll be using an accessible taxi over to the Red Hook Cruise Port. It'll be the first time that I've sailed out of Brooklyn. So I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to going under the bridge. That's supposedly one of the highlights. I can believe that. We got a whole bunch of stuff to cover this morning. First, the headlines for today, the top story, trade secrets stolen. The Carnival Freedom is back in service. Cancellations and itinerary changes galore. A record year for the Port of Vancouver. A JetBlue liftoff during deplaning. What? Port expansion for the Virgin Islands. And of course, a weather update. That and lots more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Today, folks, is National Bologna Day. I don't mind bologna. None of my family likes bologna, but I don't mind it at all. I mean, I don't mind a bologna and cheese sandwich or something like that. Or cutting up some bologna and throwing it into with scrambled eggs to have garbage eggs. A lot of ways to use bologna. I don't mind it at all. I mean, I know what it is. That's why my family refuses to eat it. But, I've eaten worse. If you're listening via the podcast, you can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big guys. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and voila, up pops the fat travel guy. I'm here most weeks, Monday through Friday, and then occasionally on Saturday and Sunday. And occasionally more when I'm on a cruise, like I'll be for the next 12 days, I think it is. That's a pretty cool cruise on the Meraviglia. Sailing from Brooklyn, we go to Port Canaveral in Florida. Then we go all the way around to the Western Caribbean, to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and then back to the Bahamas, to the private island, and to Nassau. So I'm going to get to go visit the new expanded port facilities in Nassau now that it's all opened. Actually, my first trip since they reopened everything in May. I didn't get to Nassau at all this summer, which is really unusual. I'm usually in Nassau 5 or 6 times a year. All right, yesterday, covering a lot of ground, I failed to relate to everybody on the channel, and a lot of you already knew this because of following me on Facebook. But Friday afternoon, about maybe 2:30, middle of the afternoon Friday, my portable oxygen unit croaked. Now, when I'm on a cruise, that's my lifeline, because I don't go to the hassle anymore of getting full concentrators for the cabin. One, they take up a lot of room, and it's a pain. And then they started requiring all kinds of paperwork for every time you use the concentrator. And I just decided, I'll use the portable unit. Most of you know when I'm sitting still, I don't need it. I have it close by in case I, get out of breath. But if I walk at all, yeah, I need it. In the cabins, sometimes if I'm just going from like my bed or the desk to the bathroom, when I can walk that far, sometimes I need it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I need it sleeping at night, sometimes I don't. The portable units, if they're plugged in, you don't take the battery down if you run it all night. So it can run just like a full-time concentrator if it's, plugged into the 0110 circuit. So the unit croaked. So immediately, the first thing I did was, checked with Medicare, checked with Linkcare, who's my oxygen provider, and both of their philosophies are, we'll do anything that you need at home, but we'll do nothing for you if you're away from home. So basically, the philosophy of both Medicare and Linkcare is stay at home and die, because we don't want you to go anywhere else and live. So just like when I got the portable unit the first time, I figured, well, I'm going to have to buy one again. So I called Inogen. I mean, that's clearly the best. That's one of the units you don't have to worry about getting on airplanes because they're all airplane approved. So I called Inogen and I said, okay, I explained the situation. I said, I got to have a unit overnighted to me. Can you do that? They said, oh, yeah. We have to get a prescription from your pulmonologist. And I said, well, yeah, we did that before. Can you take the one I had before? No, it's got to be dated. I said, okay, so what do we do to get that? Well, we got to get, excuse me, a form sent over to your pulmonologist. I said, okay, we'll send it. And then maybe call them. And they said, okay, we'll do that. And I said, I'll call them too. As soon as we get off the phone. I said, okay. So she faxed it while I was on the phone with her. Now, the other problem was this unit is $3,300, folks. I don't have that extra money sitting in my checking account. So I have to, as soon as I get off the phone with Inogen, I got to call my investment account guy and get them to transfer money over to my checking account. Well, it's Friday afternoon. And she told me, she says, oh my God, I'm not sure that the bank will do it until Monday morning. I said, okay, well, if that's the case, just go on and process it. And whenever it gets to my checking account, I'll know that Inogen can run the $3,300. So I called Inogen back and I told my gal, Sarah, she's just wonderful with Inogen. Explained the situation. She says, no problem. She said, if worse comes to worse, she says, I'll hook you up with a 30-day interest-free prepayment and you'll pay it back when you get back from your cruise. I said, okay, or it could be there Monday and you can run it Monday morning. She says, well, okay, we can do that. As long as we can ship by 6 o'clock Pacific Coast time on Monday, you'll have it Tuesday. I'll overnight it, and the deadline is 6 o'clock my time. And so I said, okay. So as it happened, they got put in my bank account Friday. And so it was there Saturday morning. So I called Sarah back and I said, okay, you got the money. You can go ahead and run it. And she did. She said, but I didn't get the pulmonologist, the prescription back. I said, what? She said, yeah, we didn't get anything from them. Well, of course, it's Saturday now. I ain't going to get to the pulmonologist. So first thing yesterday morning, I'm on the phone, and I said, don't send me back to an answering machine. I need a live person. And here's what I need you to do. I need you to physically go check whoever gets the faxes in. And it would have been Friday afternoon. And find out what they did with the fax, because I know it's there. I was on the phone when she faxed it. Okay, I'll call you back. Sure enough, about a half hour later, she says, we found it. We signed it. We faxed it back to them. So I knew I was okay yesterday morning. I was going to tell you the story yesterday and somehow just completely missed doing it. So it got shipped. I got to ship a notice. I got a notice this morning that says it's out on the truck for delivery. And 10 minutes before I went on the air, the doorbell rings and it's sitting over on my bed. I haven't had a chance to open the box yet, but it's here. So I got the new unit to take on the trip when I leave here at 2 o'clock or 2:30 in the morning. So that's the saga of the oxygen. So I've got a new portable oxygen unit. All right. Didn't mean to waste that much time, too. All right, got a couple of things to go over before we get to all the stuff. First of all, this is Sylvia, my counterpart, another ambassador for Will US. That's Will, WHILL _US, or will.inc/US. Either way, you can get a hold of the Will Power Chair folks. But that's Sylvia. She was in Edinburgh, Scotland yesterday. This was me. I was when I was up in Juneau a couple weeks ago. And that, of course, is one of the C2 power chairs. Now, folks, let's make this perfectly clear. Tomorrow, I'm traveling with a Will C2 power chair. You'll be seeing a lot of it over the next 16 days. Well, you're going to be seeing a lot of it from now on. But you'll be seeing it all over the ship, all over my ports of call. Yeah. So, if you are sitting at home with any type of disability or mobility challenges, and you're in that realm of sitting there feeling sorry for yourself, talk to the people at Will Power Chairs about getting a Model C2. Or if you have to, if you want to rent a scooter, call Scooter Round. Either way, just tell them code Chillie, CHILLIE. They'll know who that is. And we'll get you hooked up. We believe in getting you away from home so you can live. And I do that every day. Will Power Chairs. They're terrific. All right, this was our buddy Tanya. She's on the Celebrity Equinox. Nice sunset. And this is hubby Dwayne sitting looking out the window while they're having dinner on the Equinox. This is Katie's cousin, Johnny Quinlan, over in Bangkok at one of the temples there. This is the swimming pool on the Mardi Gras where the girls, Cindy and the girls, are misbehaving, as I pointed out yesterday. And I know I'm going to slaughter this one, but Michael and Donna Philippus are in Chiesa al San Maurizio al Manas. That doesn't sound even right. but it is in where is it? I've forgotten where it is now. It's in um, Milan, Monasterio Maggiore. Monasterio Maggiore in Milan. Anyway, pretty cool stuff. So, of course, Michael and Donna take some just phenomenal cruises. All right. Before we get to the news, let's go on and get the weather knocked out. A little bit of change from yesterday in the Atlantic. Tammy is moving northeastward. It's about 655 miles southeast of Bermuda. Maximum sustained winds are 75 miles an hour. She's moving northeast at 9, pressure 987. A turn toward the north at slower forward speed is forecast to begin tomorrow. Slight strengthening is possible during the next day or two, and then weakening followed after that. Tammy is forecast to become a post-tropical cyclone on Thursday. On Thursday, it's going to bend to the west, but I should be out of its way by then, as I'm going to be sliding right past it to the west. Now, down in Nicaragua, tropical depression producing heavy rainfall over Nicaragua. It's about 75 miles north of Bluefields, Nicaragua. Sustained winds at 30. It's moving to the northwest at 6. The pressure is 1,007. Little change in strength is forecast. The depression is expected to dissipate over Nicaragua later today. That's good. That'll be gone by the time I get down into that part of the world. I hope. And we hope there's no more development in Mexico, on the East Coast at least. Meantime, on the West Coast in the Pacific, Otis is strengthening, expected to become a hurricane before reaching the coast of southern Mexico, and it's getting pretty close. Hurricane warning is issued for portions of southern Mexico. It's located about 210 miles southeast of Acapulco. Currently, the sustained winds are 65, so it doesn't have much further to go to be at hurricane status. It's moving to the northwest at 8. Pressure is at 997 millibars. Otis is expected to reach the coast of southern Mexico tonight or early tomorrow. Additional strengthening is forecast. Otis is expected to be a hurricane before it reaches southern Mexico. Hurricane warning is in effect for Punta Maldonado westward to Zihuatanejo. Hurricane watch is in effect, as well as a tropical storm warning for Lagunas de Chacchua to Punta Maldonado. So that's what's going on in the Pacific. Man, we're into November almost. We will be next week. Let's get rid of this stuff, huh? All right, I'll be back with the news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. Lead story today, folks, comes from our friends in Finland. The Meyer Group shipyard business has won millions in compensation in a trade secret theft case. A former Meyer employee secretly copied proprietary files, which were then passed on to a shipyard in China. A court handed down its judgment under Finnish law. It found a former employee at Meyer Turco copied thousands of files and shared them with another shipyard via a consulting firm he owned. He worked at Meyer Turco until 2017. The man passed away during the lengthy investigation. It's one way of avoiding jail time. In 2018, Meyer Turco, a company, opened an internal investigation after becoming aware of this suspected industrial espionage. The investigation revealed criminal activity, which was reported to the police. As a result of the incident, Meyer was awarded $5.3 million in damages from the estate and company, along with $101,000 in interest. The court found the accessed files were protected under copyright and trade secret laws. The ruling deemed he had violated copyright laws and acted in industrial espionage. The name of the man and the competing shipyard were not disclosed. I guess that was part of the arrangement. So, all right. We've talked about this a number of times over the past year, but the Carnival Freedom returned to service today and is once again sporting the Carnival Cruise Line's iconic funnel. The ship received a new funnel during its 16-day dry dock, where the vessel received general maintenance and a few new features. Among the new features added to the Carnival Freedom are a new Heroes Tribute Bar, a Dream Studio. The cruise ship's casino was expanded, and all cabins and public areas of the ship were upgraded and renovated. Carnival Freedom also received the cruise line's new red, white, and blue paint job. I hate calling it a livery, but you know what I mean. Carnival Freedom will now sail a 14-night cruise from Barcelona to Port Canaveral, and then she's going to do shorts, 4 and 5 dayers, to the Bahamas and the Eastern Caribbean. All right, guests booked on the Norwegian Gem November 1st departure have finally been updated about changes in itineraries. This comes after later departures were already confirmed and adjusted, and dramatically changes the ship's planned voyage as necessary due to the escalating tensions in and around Israel. The November 1st sailing of Norwegian Gem was to have been an 11-night Mediterranean sailing with stops in Greece, Turkey, and Egypt, as well as calls to both Haifa and Ashdod. Obviously, those are removed. MSC Cruises has made massive adjustments to multiple ships in its fleet for the winter season 2023 to 2024 due to the situation in Israel and travel restrictions to other ports in the region. Itineraries on at least 6 ships have been impacted, with full season cancellations on some vessels and itinerary adjustments on others. Impacted ships include the MSC Orchestra, MSC Sinfonia, MSC Virtuosa, MSC Opera, MSC Splendida, and MSC Harmonia. These changes, in addition to the adjusted itineraries and canceled sailings for the Musica and Sinfonia that were previously announced. If you're booked on any of those ships, get a hold of your provider, whoever you book your cruises through, to see if you're not affected, if you haven't already received a notice. Also, in the same line, Semester at Sea is making last-minute changes to its current voyage due to the geopolitical situation in the Middle East. Based on events in the last few days in the Red Sea, Israel, Gaza, and elsewhere, conversations with the U.S. Embassy across the Middle East, as well as multiple discussions with ship management partners and others, we determined that a Suez Canal, Red Sea, Gulf of Aden transit is not advisable at this time. So said the company. Instead, World Odyssey will now head to Asia via the Atlantic and Africa, making visits to new ports of call in the region. All right. Last night, I had a lovely message from a new friend in Vancouver. Her name is Adrienne Carter. She's actually my Holland America contact at the Port of Vancouver. She's the one that originally hooked me up with the accessible cab in Vancouver that I used a ton after that. But I got from the airport in Vancouver over to the Vancouver cruise port, thanks to Adrienne. And she's shared several bits of information from me from Vancouver since then. Well, the final cruise ship of the 2023 season, which happens to be Holland America's Koningsdam, will report from the Canada Place Cruise Terminal at the Port of Vancouver today, marking the end of a robust year for the local cruise industry. The Port of Vancouver welcomed 1.25 million passengers, a new record and a 54% increase compared to 2022. This includes 15 of Canada Place's 20 busiest days ever for cruise passengers, all occurring in the past 6 months. There were 332 cruise ship calls between April and October, a new record for the Canada Place Cruise Terminal, and an increase of 9% compared to 307 visits in 2022. Cruise ship occupancy rates averaged 95% for the season and peaked at an average of 96% over the summer as occupancy rates returned to pre-pandemic levels. This year was the first full season without any COVID-related restrictions following the gradual easing of federal travel restrictions last year. Highlights of the 2023 season. Of course, the last cruise ship of the season is the Koningsdam, sailing today. The first ship of the season to the Port of Vancouver was the Sapphire Princess. That's the second ship I sailed in Alaska this year. Overall, the average cruise ship passenger occupancy rate was 95%, like I said. The other interesting fact, in 2023, nearly 75% of all cruise calls were shore power enabled, compared to 70% in 2022 and 50% in 2019. Demand for shore power has steadily increased since 2009, when the Port of Vancouver became the first port in Canada and the third in the world to introduce shore power for cruises. Shore power enables ships to shut down their diesel-powered auxiliary engines and plug into land-based electrical power at the Port of Vancouver. This has helped reduce port-related greenhouse gas emissions by more than 38,000 tons since 2009. 6 inaugural vessels docked at Canada Place in 2023, including Norwegian Encore, Brilliance of the Sea, Silver Whisperer, Hanseatic Nature, Fjordoff Nansen, and Seabourn Venture. Again, I've said this numerous times. I love Vancouver. I love sailing from Vancouver. I love the Vancouver airport. Everything that I did in Vancouver, I like. I totally fell in love with the Vancouver Aquarium. And because the wheelchair accessible taxis are so readily available, Vancouver does it right, folks. All right. Weird story here. This is JetBlue. A JetBlue aircraft lost its balance and tipped so far back that the nose lifted up in the air during disembarkation at New York's JFK airport. This actually happened Sunday night. Once at the gate, due to a shift in weight and balance during deplaning, the tail of the aircraft tipped backward, causing the nose of the aircraft to lift up and eventually return back down, JetBlue reported. The plane was an Airbus A321 inbound from Barbados, according to FlightAware. Folks, it wasn't me. I'm sure there was a couple big fat guys like me sitting on the front of the plane, and they got off first, and it shifted up and flopped the damn thing up in the air. Wasn't me, folks. I'm not guilty on this one. Okay. So I was actually a true story into a bit of a silly one. What else do we have here? It seems to me I got another story. Cruisers will soon have more options to visit both St. Croix and St. Thomas in the U.S. Virgin Islands, as the Board of Governors has approved port expansion at both destinations. In partnership with Royal Caribbean Group, the project will permit larger vessels to dock and revitalize and modernize the terminals for better guest experiences. Boy, that's poorly written. This will revitalize both Crown Bay Center and Austin Bay Monsanto Marine Terminal. All right. Things are looking up for St. Thomas and St. Croix. Of course, my favorite story about St. Thomas, the only level, it's a pretty hilly island. The only level place on the island, I managed to flip my scooter on my head. And that, unfortunately, is a true story. All right, guys, let's go over and see who's in the chat room fussing with me. I've got to meet with the folks at Passion for Cruises USA here at 12:30. So hopefully I'll get at least one or two more hosted cruises for next year booked. We're going to make some changes. All right, Emily's with us. Good morning. Wow, Emily's the first one in the house. How about that? Happy cruising and safe travels. Thanks, Em. And yeah, I'm all set. I know you were worried about it being smoky and stinky up there in New York. That's all right. I got the new oxygen now. I'll be in good shape. Hot Air Tom says good morning to everybody. There's Gretchen. Enjoy yourself, Chillie. You know I will. Hot Air says mission accomplished. I disassembled my Dell laptop to install a new battery this morning. Got it back together and all is working. Well, Hot Air Tom fixes something for a change. Very good, Tom. Joanne's with us. Good morning, Joanne. A good fried bologna sandwich is the best way. You know what? I forgot about fried bologna. Yeah, I used to do that, and I did that some when I had the concessions trailer when I was in gigs that wanted me to do other things other than funnel cakes and lemonade. Occasionally, they want hot hamburgers and hot dogs and fried bologna. I mean, that's definitely a Southern dish. So, yeah, I've done that before, too. And I didn't think about that this morning. But you're right, Joanne. Fried bologna sandwiches are good. Mike's with us. He probably doesn't even know what bologna is. Mike, do you know what bologna is? And Gretchen says, good morning to everybody. Our gardener came to the house really, but Mom was on her way over to help with the baby. Okay, that JetBlue tipping was a surprise picture in my feed this morning. Yeah. The article didn't mention if the passengers were still on the plane. Do you know? Yes, they were. There were still passengers in the back of the plane when it flipped up, but then it came down on its own. It wasn't that they had to run forward to tip it down. It just flipped it up and flipped it back down. It was relatively quick, but I bet that was scary as crap for the poor sucker sitting in the back row. I just found it hysterical. Let's see. Everybody's still talking back and forth. Chillie going to Cozumel, but no visit with Lizzie on location. No, Elizabeth's not there this time. Elizabeth's over there in Italy or someplace in the mid. I know a lot of people now in Cozumel because of Elizabeth. So I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. My first thought was to go visit my friends at the No Name Bar, the bar that did that big party for me at one time. But to get back to the No Name Bar, I have to go through an alley between two buildings, and a scooter would go through there. But I think my chair is wider than a scooter. I got to check that before I go, because I got to make sure that I fit through that hallway before I spend the money for the cab fare. From down at the San Marcos to the downtown area. That's too far for me to roll. It's going to be 72 today, getting my hair done. Missed my appointment due to COVID right after my Oktoberfest cruise. Well, for all means, Gretchen, go get your hair done. Sorry to hear about your oxygen unit. Yeah, well, it's replaced now. So, and then I did fix it, sort of. I got it working again after I had already put the thing in process. But quite frankly, to count on it I'm going to be gone for 14, 15 days here total. To count on being gone that long on a machine that I repaired, yeah, no. No, thank you. We're going with the new one. We're not doing the old one. He only says we're in the 70s this week. Weather is crazy. Yeah, I'm probably going to wear shorts tomorrow. Normally flying, at least out of northern climes, I would have on long pants. But I'd rather, because I'm going, going to New York, getting on a boat. We're going to sail. It might be a little cool once we sail. But with it being 70, I'd be a lot more comfortable in shorts. I prefer shorts anyway. Then by the time we get to Florida, it's going to be hot. So, I'll have long pants in my suitcase. If it's cold, I can always, change clothes. They do allow you to do that on boats, Emily. A helicopter just flew over the house, and it shook the house. Wow. I could see the windows, the color, and it was huge. I wonder if that's the former president coming up there to go to court today. Visiting dignitaries. That's what I was thinking. Yikes. Money. There goes our cruise in 2025. No, not really, Hot Air Tom. Yeah, that took a big chunk out of the account, but it's the money's there for the cruise. Emily says, I didn't do it. Just hope they don't overnight it with FedEx. Very undependable. It's here. It came already. It did everything it was supposed to do, and it was not FedEx. My monthly meds come on FedEx, and they come every time too. But this came UPS overnight. FedEx can be annoying. They've never been to me. I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem with either. I've had problems with the post office before, but I've never had problems with either FedEx or UPS. And I'm going back in the days when I was in the wholesale floral business. I used them all the time to ship overnight shipping flowers and stuff from various wholesalers and importers around the world. Can Inogen provide repair service for your first concentrator to get it working properly? I didn't even ask Hot Air. Probably I could ship it up. They're not going to be into the cost of shipping it and all that business. So I don't know. I mean, there's no Inogen people anywhere near me. So, and I sure as hell can't get my oxygen people to look at an Inogen unit. They refuse. They also refuse to purchase a portable unit and lease it back to me like they do the damn oxygen. I can get all the oxygen tanks I want. If there anything goes wrong with my big concentrator, they'll replace it in 2 minutes. They won't get a portable unit that I can use away from the house. So, Steve says, good morning to everybody. Chair looks good. Yeah, I like it. I took it out to dinner the other night. Then one of my errands yesterday, somehow I lost my driver's license. So I had to go to DMV and get a temporary license until they send me a new one. So not having any idea how long I was going to have to wait in the DMV, I unloaded the chair and rode the chair in. Got it done, and I was there maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. Rolled back out, rolled it on the lift, raised it up, strapped it down to the lift, raised it up, and put the seat pillow in the chair. I didn't go to the trouble of covering it. That's the hardest thing about the whole thing, is covering it and then strapping the cover down and getting that off. If it's not going to rain, I'm not even worried about it. So there's no rain in the forecast here. When I leave in the morning, I'll get over to the airport. I'm parking at handicap parking because there's no way for my normal parking places that Todd or Tom gave me. They don't have any way of getting that chair over to the airport. So excuse me. So I'm parking at in a handicap place at the airport, and then I'll roll over to Delta. I'm flying Delta tomorrow, and check in and all that business. And before I leave the car, I'll fold the rack on the back. It raises up and locks into place so people don't trip over it or run into it or anything like that. So then it's just a flat thing on the back of my car. And I will leave the keys to the lift in the car so I don't take a chance on losing them on a cruise. I have a key to my car, which I can get in the car to get the lift keys back out when I get back to the car. I also have a backup key to the car. Excuse me. Damn. Sorry about that. Looking forward to seeing you rolling all over the place. I will. Those chairs have such a nicer look rather than the old hover rounds. Yes, they do. The only thing that I've got to see how this is going to work out for me is the scoot around basket on the front. That was always a tremendous aid to me because I could carry pretty much whatever I needed. This has a a carry basket underneath the seat. So it's going to be a little more just different. I mean, I'll still be able to carry my computer and all that business. So when I'm rolling around the ship to do my shows and all that, I'll have all the supplies I need on the chair. It's just going to be different. So Chillie Cruises is a research project for you to do. I saw a post yesterday that someone claimed that NCL was changing the shipyard for future Prima class ships back to Germany due to the poor quality of the Prima builds, things falling apart. Oh, I have not heard anything about that. I think that the next two Prima ships have already started construction. Maybe not. I'll do some checking on that one, Tom. Me and some Pete rated the snack cabinet on JetBlue. News has been that United is changing its boarding to economy, doing window seats before aisle seats to speed up boarding. I commented that the main delay is people waiting for forward passengers to stow luggage. I really believe that boarding the rear to front would improve this waiting. Someone said that airlines can't do that due to tipping the plane. I guess tipping is the thing. Well, there you go, hot air. That happened on JetBlue. Emily, sorry about the smell. Yeah, but it's not you smelling, Emily. I know it's from the fires or Canada or whatever. Gretchen says, I love status with United with the early boarding. Nice sunny day today. How about leaving for Richmond after the show and supervising my shed assembly? We can have you over. I still got to pack and everything, hot air. There's no, I've got the day fully set aside on what I got to do. I haven't started packing. I haven't, got the car loaded. Yeah, no. I'm not coming to Richmond to supervise anything today. No offense. Emily says, I'm going to wear my sleeveless pants. Sleeveless pants. Pantsuit on Saturday. It will be 76 hot. That would be a good workout for the chair. Drive, ride to the airport from park and go lot. Yeah, but then because I don't know how much rolling I got to do in JFK and then MSC, because I've not sailed out of Brooklyn before, I don't have any experience so that I could judge how much of my chair I need to save to do that. So, yeah. And the other problem would be, of course, getting my luggage from over there at the car park over to the airport, even if I could roll it. So, yeah, no. I'll just park it over there. It costs me a little more per day. Who cares? Just don't leave the keys in the cruise ship safe. Yeah, hot air Tom. One time was enough with that one. And that was one that hot air Tom bailed me out of. Thank goodness. He went back on board, got back on board the ship, got into my room and got the guy to open the safe to get my damn car keys out. And he mailed them to me because I had an extra key. But anyway, hot air Tom did do that for me. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for today and tomorrow. Remember, no show tomorrow. I will try to do a live or a Facebook Live depending on my signal during the day tomorrow, to keep you posted on what's happening. As we travel to Brooklyn, to Red Hook, to sail on the MSC Meraviglia. Again, it'll be my third cruise on Meraviglia. I love the ship. I want to see if they've made any improvements, accessible improvements. So we're gonna give them a good hard study this time. All right, guys. That's it for today. As always, thanks for being with me. Please smash that thumbs up button. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. We're heading on our way to 5,000 subscribers now. We passed 3,600. I think we're at 4612 or something like that this morning, 4613, somewhere along in there. So, yeah, maybe in the next 16 days, 15 days, whatever it is, I'm going to be gone. Wouldn't it be nice to get it up to 5,000? Wow, that'd be cool. Maybe I'll start hammering that every day. All right, guys. As always, thanks to my friends at Will US and Scoot Around and all of you guys for being with me. Have a fantastic day, everybody. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you from Brooklyn.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you'd like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.